Hello and welcome back to another episode in our series of 1,000 Evidences for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In this one, number 201, we will discuss the prophecies that the United States Constitution would hang by a thread. Soon after the church was organized in 1830, the prophet Joseph Smith, Brigham Young, and John Taylor all predicted that the time would come when the Constitution of the United States would be in serious jeopardy. They further prophesied that the time the Latter-day Saints would defend it as a standard of freedom to the entire world. In the month of May 1843, Joseph Smith made some remarks about the Constitution and the government of the United States, stating that the time would come when the Constitution and the government would hang by a brittle thread and would be ready to fall into other hands, but that the Latter-day Saints would step forth and save it. That's found in the words of Joseph Smith, the contemporary accounts of the Nauvoo Discourses of the prophet Joseph Smith, compiled by Andrew F. E. Hatt and Lyndon W. Cook, 1996, page 279. Brigham Young reinforced this prophecy during an Independence Day celebration in the Tabernacle in Salt Lake City, Utah, on July 4th, 1854. He said, "Will the Constitution be destroyed? No. It will be held inviolate by this people, and as Joseph Smith said, the time will come when the destiny of the nation will hang upon a single thread, and that at that critical juncture, this people will step forward and save it from the threatened destruction. It will be so." That's found in the Journal of Discourses, Volume 7, page 15. President John Taylor prophesied the following in a speech at Logan on Sunday, August 31st, 1879. He said, "The day is not far distant when this nation will be shaken from center to circumference. And now you may write it down, any of you, and I will prophesy it in the name of God, and then will be fulfilled the prediction to be found in one of the revelations given through the prophet Joseph Smith. When the people shall have torn to shreds the Constitution of the United States, the elders of Israel will be found holding it up to the nations of the earth and proclaiming liberty and equal rights to all men, and extending the hand of fellowship to the oppressed of all nations. This is part of the program, and as long as we do what is right and fear God, He will help us and stand by us under all circumstances." This is found in Journal of Discourses, Volume 21, page 8. Even the most casual observer can see that these prophecies are currently being fulfilled. The Communist Manifesto, drafted by Karl Marx in 1842, described a detailed plan for destroying our capitalistic society and replacing it with the communist form of government. The proposed plan did not call for a violent and bloody revolution. Rather, it called for the peaceful use of the legislators, courts, and executives as a means to induce the citizens of the United States and other nations into destroying their own rights themselves. Marx listed 10 steps for gradually eroding away at the protections guaranteed by our Constitution. Elder H. Verlin Anderson, formerly of the Second Quorum of the 70, showed how one by one over half of these 10 steps have already been implemented in the United States. Each of these encroachments into our basic freedoms were clearly predicted against in the Constitution of the United States. Yet these constitutional safeguards were bypassed and ignored or altered in order to push forward the socialist ideas of Marx and Engels. In summary, Elder Anderson quotes from the U.S. News and World Report, which read, "Only 175 years after our forefathers ordained the Constitution of the United States, the document has largely fallen into disuse. We read the provisions of the Constitution and have been torn to shreds by the autocratic action of a judicial oligarchy." See David Lawrence, Our Vanishing Constitution, U.S. News and World Report, July 20th, 1964, cited in H. Verlin Anderson, Many Are Called, But Few Are Chosen. That's in Hawks Publishing, Incorporated, and pages 49 to 56. Over the last 50 years, many statesmen and commentators have expressed their disdain for the U.S. Constitution. For instance, former U.S. President Barack Obama made several statements over the course of his administration that the U.S. Constitution is outdated and no longer appropriate for modern times. In fulfillment of the prophecy that church members would save the Constitution, they have defended the Constitution through the power of the ballot box, in voting for candidates who uphold the ideals of the Constitution, as well as by the power of their prayers. Also, in addition to the late Elder H. Verlin Anderson, many other prominent church leaders have been active in directing and involvement in the governmental institutions on the federal, state, and local levels. Elder Mark E. Peterson, President J. Reuben Clark Jr., former Undersecretary of State and Ambassador to Mexico, President Ezra Taft Benson, former Secretary of Agriculture in the Cabinet of the President of the United States, and W. Cleon Skousen, author of The Naked Communist, which was published in Salt Lake City, Utah, Ensign, 1958. The 5,000-Year Leap, he also wrote in Malta, Idaho, a National Center for Constitutional Studies, 1981. Skousen also wrote The Making of America, The Substance and Meaning of the Constitution, 1985. The Majesty of God's Law in Ensign, 1996. Also, Jerome Horowitz, The Elders of Israel and the Constitution, Parliament Publishers, 1970, and Gerald Newquist, Prophets, Principles, and National Survival, published in Salt Lake City, Utah Publishers Press, 1964. Hiram L. Andrus, Liberalism, Conservatism, and Mormonism, Deseret Book, 1965. R. Colin Mangrum, Mormonism, Philosophical Liberalism, and the Constitution, BYU Studies, and many other sources. We could go on, but these indicate a multitude of references where the members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have defended the Constitution in word and deed. Ladies and gentlemen, the bottom line is that the LDS leaders are true prophets, which also demonstrates that the church is true. Thanks for watching this and future episodes. Remember, call, don't fall. Call on the God who reveals his prophecies to true apostles and prophets of our day. Don't fall for the pathetic complaints of naysayers who see only gloom and doom.